Hi, my name is Tyler Hembry, and today's presentation is entitled Get a Grip, Baseball Grips and Tips for Pitchers. During today's presentation, we'll talk about 4 of the most fundamental pitches in baseball, the grips that make them possible, and a few tips that will make each pitch more successful. Anytime you're talking about pitching, and that definitely applies today, you're really talking about 2 fingers in particular, your middle finger and your index finger, and 2 different laces. We're going to talk about the narrow seams, and we'll talk about the horseshoe seam. Alright, in today's presentation we're going to talk about 4 pitches in particular. We're going to talk about the 2-seam fastball, we'll talk about the 4-seam fastball, we'll talk about the curveball, and we'll talk about the changeup. These pitches can be found anywhere from Little League to the big leagues. The only thing that changes is the grips can vary slightly and how each pitcher goes about pitching their individual style. But the pitches are the same, and they're a fundamental basis for us to build from. The first pitch that we're going to start talking about is going to be the 2-seam fastball. With the 2-seam fastball, we want to have our index and pointer fingers placed along the narrow seams. These are our narrow seams on the baseball. We're going to place our index and pointer finger, our index and middle finger along the inner portion of those seams, like this. Now, on the release, we want to make sure that we're flicking the ball away from our hand with our fingers. We're going to roll it off of these fingers towards our target and get a nice flick, okay? The goal here with the 2-seam fastball is to combine a high velocity pitch that you're going to be able to throw with some velocity with a little bit of natural movement. Next, we're going to talk about the 4-seam fastball. The grip on the 4-seam fastball is going to be across the horseshoe laces. So here's our horseshoe, our index and middle finger are going to go across those. You want to hold the ball loosely in the hand, just like this, making sure that the palm is not on the ball, just the fingers. The release on the 4-seam is going to be similar, and we want to flick the ball away from the body, away from the hand, roll the fingers off. The desired outcome of the 4-seam fastball is that top-end velocity pitch is probably going to be the pitch you throw the hardest with a high degree of controllability. It's your top-end speed pitch. Next, we'll talk about the curveball. The grip of the curveball, we're going to go along the right-hand side of the horseshoe seams like this, with both fingers tucked together. And the release here is what the biggest difference is. We want to go downward and clockwise. We want to create a downward and clockwise spin with the baseball by flicking and turning those fingers in that direction. Downward and clockwise is the key. The desired outcome of the curveball is it's going to break down and away from the pitcher's arm side. The combination of decreased velocity and vertical and horizontal movement can be really challenging for a hitter, especially when it's followed by the fastball, or the 2 or the 4-seam. Lastly, we have the changeup. There's many variations of the changeup, but basically what we're trying to accomplish is getting more hand, more surface area on the baseball. So we're going to hold it deeper in our palm. We're going to wrap these fingers around it, and when we release it, we want to push the ball out of our hand, push the ball out of the palm, okay? No flicking of the fingers or anything like that. We want it to look like the fastball out of the hand, but with the push, it's going to come out a little slower. The decrease in velocity is going to get us the variation we're looking for. All right, well, that's it for our baseball grips and tips for pitchers today. Hopefully you can take this information and it'll help you moving forward. Happy pitching.